2018 Nissan GT-R Review. Pros: supercar performance, superb handling, aggressive styling, technologically advanced. Cons: limited availability, requires frequent servicing, automatic inlay gearbox, noisy drivetrain. Frequently lauded because the supercar for that PlayStation generation, but don't be dissuaded from trying one. The Nissan GT-R is infinitely more visceral compared to virtual rolling around in its appeal. While the initials GT-R possess a history returning to 1969 inside the car's Japanese homeland, official sales within the UK only began inside late 1990s, with restricted varieties of what aficionados refer to because the R33 and R34 generations with the Nissan Skyline GT-R. Dropping the Skyline good name for this R35 iteration, the GT-R is a lot more brutal in fashion and performance, yet is less costly than key rivals such as being the Porsche 911 plus the Mercedes-AMG GT Coupe, or perhaps the Audi R8. Twin-turbocharged engine. Nissan's development has come a lengthy way within this generation GT-R's time available. When launched in 2009, the 3.8-liter twin-turbo V6 engine produced 480 horsepower. Nevertheless, the revised editions from 2017 have upped the ante further to 570 horsepower, whilst the range-topping Nismo packs 600 horsepower. Officially, all on the current models use a top speed of 196 miles per hour, and although 062 miles per hour times aren't quoted, it's fair you may anticipate them all to get sub 4 seconds. A variety of other improvements were ushered in from 2017. All of these are designed to improve the GT-R's performance. Revised aerodynamics improve stability, a stiffer structure enhances grip, and modifications towards the dual-clutch automatic gearbox means it's a lesser amount of jerky when driven at urban speeds. Naturally, an automobile offering this amount of performance isn't inexpensive to own, so consider GT-R ownership using your eyes open. Generally 23.9 miles per gallon is claimed, while CO2 emissions are 275 gkm. Technofast interior. Despite the swathes of leather, the Nissan GT-R's cabin felt somewhat on the cheap side weighed against its high-performance rivals, something largely addressed as part from the facelift ushered in following 2016. Not only did material quality improve, the shape on the dashboard was subtly altered, and also the vast amount of buttons and switches was significantly reduced. What remains is definitely an array of onboard electronics, including real-time graphics displaying many methods from forces to lap times, Rogue's dataset readily available for download and played by having a PlayStation rendering or circuit exploits in 3D graphics. Although the GT-R is a physically large car, the cabin itself is a good squeeze for 4 adults, those within the back especially bereft of both head and legroom. Restructured 2017 GT-R lineup. Nissan reorganized its GT-R lineup as part with the styling revisions after 2016, using the range comprising of 5 distinct trim levels. Pure may be the entry-level grade, although at about £80,000 it's far away from basic, with Recaro with sports seats on the German brand, Prestige wider, comfier seats, Track Edition no longer power. However, many Nismo styling and suspension components sitting above, with Nismo Sense the balls out range topper. All consist of electric seats, LED lights front and back, an 11-speaker Bose head unit, and dual-zone climate control included in a long roster of normal kit. The verdict: the Nissan GT-R somehow seems to successfully meld the accessibility and ease of use with the AWD Porsche 911 Turbo, using the level of involvement you'd experience with a rear-wheel drive Mercedes-AMG GT. And it's less expensive than both. On the path, it's nearly the fastest car in solid world terms, which inevitably means you'll need to take it onto a track to have it properly. We couldn't recommend either experience highly enough. Enormous speed on tap, improved transmission for 2017, characterful engine note, sensational will be the best approach to describe Nissan GT-R performance. Almost not a surprise the fact that the earlier versions with the 3.8-liter twin-turbo V6 produced an incredibly healthy 480 horsepower. Extraordinary power levels for 2017. The GT-R's power plant was further fettled as a way to extract much more urgency by reviewing the metallic loins. All models barring the Nismo deliver 570 horsepower to all or any four wheels for a higher VIN 6,800 revolutions per minute. As a result, need to produce the engine scream have fun with all that is available, something it will willingly. Peak torque is rudely stoked too, at 637 Nm from 3,600 revolutions per minute. That's high enough to generate the engine tractable and smooth at lower speeds, and not so high about require lots of gear changes to generate the GT-R go quickly. Nissan states the GT-R's top speed is 196 miles per hour, and yes, it doesn't quote the official 0.62 miles per hour acceleration time. A conservative estimate puts it at sub 4 seconds. There's snarl towards the exhaust note even at lower engine speeds. It responds with alacrity to demands for further power, and as being the revs improve, the GT-R sounds angrier, using a deep bellow together with the high-pitched whine on the twin turbos spinning. Power is uprated to 600 horsepower and 652 Nm of torque for that GT-R Nismo. Yet Nissan quotes the identical top speed, whilst still being no 0.62 miles per hour time. We'd expect this to get around the 3-second mark. No manual transmission is offered for your GT-R, the only gearbox available like a 6-speed twin-clutch automatic. Earlier versions proved tricky to maneuver at lower speeds, particularly between second and third gear, the place that the changes were characterized when you're jerky. Significant revisions to your gearbox were ushered in as part in the facelift at the conclusion of 2016, making the GT-R much smoother at lower speeds by refining the transition between your lowest ratios. Stiffer, more aerodynamic body for better balance, security of four-wheel drive is standard. Nismo version promises being a track hero Nestle behind the wheel on the Nissan GT-R, and also you soon learn that its flattering handling enables even less capable drivers to seem like heroes driving. The GT-R is a sports coupe bristling with electronic wizardry, allowing various in the car's parameters being adjusted from inside the cabin, including suspension stiffness, sensitivity on the throttle pedal, the higher level wheel spin permitted under harder acceleration, and exactly how long each gear is held whenever in automatic mode, and that's just scratching the top of what it may do. Four-wheel drive ensures traction is maximized within a range of road surface conditions, enabling GT-R drivers to extract the utmost performance in the car throughout every season. In reality, it's too fast for UK roads, the primary draw for a few drivers. If you're approaching the GT-R's limits within the public highway, you're either driving badly or with the speed you'll someday have to watch out to your magistrate. It's less than the same experience being a rear-wheel drive car such as a similarly powerful McLaren 570S. You simply buckle up and marvel for the way it sticks to your tarmac. We'd recommend taking your GT-R with a track day to educate yourself regarding what it may really do in a controlled environment. And prepare to have a tired neck. Enhancements for 2017 onwards. Although the GT-R's facelift at the conclusion of 2016 were built with a cosmetic appeal, there was clearly more with it than simply nipping and tucking the Nissan's lines. The deeper grille design feeds more air for the engine but additionally stabilizes the airflow along the car's nose. A similar story can be obtained around the back on the car. The spine wings also have the chamfering near the spine window smoothed away, whilst the tail carries a revised spoiler and elongated edges for the rear bumper. These tweaks not simply make the GT-R less prone to changes in wind direction, in addition they stiffen the automobile, allowing the suspension being modified so it maximizes grip in the tires, allowing drivers to corner faster than in the past. Positively, it's allowed the suspension for being tuned for being more supple in comfort mode, making the GT-R so much easier to live with day to day. Track Edition and Nismo versions. The Track Focus Boot Aerodynamics GT-R Nismo delivers more extreme performance, closer to your race car compared to the other derivatives. It can be a frankly baffling machine, efficient at generating huge amounts of braking, cornering and lastly accelerative force. We've only driven it rolling around in its natural habitat, on the right track, where it had been deeply impressive. The way it corners helps to make the standard GT-R feel positively early-pulley, along with the power on tap requires very measured prods on the throttle pedal. Bridging the gap may be the Track Edition. This features much on the Nismo's suspension arrangement but devoid of the carbon fiber downforce-inducing wing arrangement and the higher output engine. Intriguingly, both can produce downloadable telemetry to help you pore above the lap data and replay it in 3D rendered form together with the appropriate gaming system. Improved cabin for 2017. Uplift in quality but rivals practice at better gadget-heavy multimedia system remains. While the Nissan GT-R's exterior was chiseled and purposeful, with the first few years its cabin was obviously a comparative mess. Plenty of familiar Nissan components did actually have been fired to the leather-wrapped dashboard and thus it lacked much feeling of cohesion. It was pretty much passable way back in 2009 when it was on sale about the £55,000 mark, but because price crept up it became less acceptable. A 2017 model year facelift heralded a revision to the cabin, with 14 fewer buttons peppering the dash. More leather plus a BM-style multimedia screen sat proud from the molding in lieu of deeply set involved with it. Sure, some on this switchgear includes a whiff of Qashqai regarding it, but it feels well screwed together and there's a tangible uplift in quality, or even up on the standards of their Germanic rivals. As was ever thus, that multimedia screen is capable of displaying all manner of techno data to help keep the PlayStation generation happy. Force meter anyone? Forward visibility is decent, although it's tricky to find the corners with the car without relying within the camera or sensors. Rearward vision is hampered by thick pillars as well as a slot-like back window. The driving position within reason adjustable, with 8-way seats plus a rake and reach adjustable tire. The latter requires that you push a handle for every single motion though, and that is unusual and unnecessarily complex. You've also got two 12V power sockets along with a front center console with armrest containing a storage box, plus two cup holders from the front and rear. Adjustable suspension good on normal roads. Front seats are fairly spacious, rear's tighter, cruises quietly, noisier when provoked. Compare the degree of comfort served up with the Nissan GT-R with some of that rivals and yes, it feels positively luxury saloon-like. This hasn't always decreased well by incorporating hardcore GT-R fans though who choose to hold the adjustable suspension rolling around in its firmest setting. Year revisions have softened some with the Nissan settings because brand pursued a much more refined air for the sports car, especially using the suspension in the most comfortable mode. For 2017 there's a much better choice, together with the Track Edition and Nismo versions featuring race car-inspired, firmer suspension, still with 3 stages of adjustability. As you move the Pure, Recaro and Prestige take care of those trying to find something a tad bit more civilized and forgiving on Britain's poorly surfaced roads. For a vehicle offering this type of high degree of performance, there's a decent amount of room in advance, although taller occupants may need to recline the seats back with the requisite headroom, as the back seats will be more generous than many rivals. They're hardly palatial. The Prestige's wider front seats will feel especially comfortable for those about the portlier side as actually 8-way adjustment with the driver's seat. It's not too difficult to feel comfortable driving. Generous standard equipment levels through the range, little to differentiate Pure, Recaro and Prestige carbon fiber add-ons for range toppers. The Nissan GT-R will come in 3 basic trims, Pure, Recaro and Prestige, which all offer more or less exactly the same standard equipment. From there you may pick either the Track Edition or top-spec Nismo to improve levels of mechanical sophistication. Standard Nissan GT-R Coupe equipment. The 3 standard trims all come using the following equipment: dual-zone climate control, heated front seats with 8-way power adjustment for driver and passenger, leather-wrapped tire, handbrake and gear knob, carbon fiber, a trimmed center console, 20-inch alloys, automatic LED headlights and wipers, LED daytime running lights and rear lights, electric, heated and folding door mirrors, front and rear parking sensors, keyless entry and ignition, cruise control and speed limiter, Nissan Connect 8.0-inch entertainment system, Bluetooth, USB, aux socket, DAB radio, Bose speakers, Satanov reversing camera. Pick the Pure GT-R, therefore you get black leather and Alcantara seats, while Recaro cars add black and red leather chairs made with the grade's namesake. Finally there's Prestige, which adds leather touring seats in red, black, tan or ivory. Next up are 2 more track-focused versions, the primary of that's tellingly called Track Edition. This adds light-weight 20-inch alloy wheels, carbon fiber rear spoiler, Recaro leather seats, Nismo Race-tuned suspension, Nismo-tuned Bilstein Damtronic shock absorbers, Nismo body bonding for increased rigidity. Finally the greatest GT-R is named Nismo. This also comes with Nismo carbon fiber rear spoiler, carbon fiber back and front bumpers, carbon fiber boot lid, carbon fiber side skirts, upgraded engine details and performance, carbon fiber backed Recaro bucket seats, black Alcantara controls, dashboard, A-pillars and roof lining, carbon fiber center console, Nissan Connect Satanov with Nismo telemetry. Optional extras: Nissan GT-R Coupe due for the generous equipment package that comes together with the GT-R. Extra cost choices relatively few in number, as vibrant red will be the only standard color, metallic paint, in pearl black, storm white, Daytona blue and gun metallic, are offered, just like 2 special shades of ultimate silver and Katsura orange. Nismo versions have a very range of 5 optional hues. Other accessories and options incorporate a choice of car covers, floor mats, 1 set having a carbon heel pad, a professional tracking system if your GT-R be stolen, and tri-boss applied coatings to defend the paint, glass, wheels and upholstery. Pick the Track Edition car and also you can boost the standard spec with carbon fiber backed leather Recaro race seats as well as a carbon fiber boot lid. Not crash tested by Euro NCAP security, a 4-wheel drive lacks modern active safety tech. As with numerous specialist, high-performance cars, the protection aspects on the Nissan GT-R aren't tested because of the Euro NCAP crash experts, but that's never to suggest it's a dangerous car. On the contrary, with 6 airbags, tire pressure monitoring and also the security of 4-wheel drive along with a host of stability electronics, the GT-R is both fast and safe. No autonomous safety tech. While the lighting back and front has been upgraded to full LED units, the GT-R's age is showing by way of a lack of active technology like lane keeping assistance and autonomous emergency braking. Purists may believe that such devices detract through the purity of fancy car driving, but given the amount of other tech is present around the Nissan, such functions are conspicuous by their absence. Just with regards to a 4-seater, boot is deep but lip is higher, revisions make low-speed maneuvers easier as high-end cars go. The Nissan GT-R is offering one from the greatest examples of practicality, although to be a two-door coupe it can miss out on an increased score by lacking a tailgate or folding rear seats. While many adults will find the sculpted couple of rear chairs comfortable, kids ought to be fine, if the little claustrophobic, due on the aggressively sloping roofline and tiny side windows. Still, There's more room inside back than most rivals, some that don't have back seats by any means. Until the revisions following 2016, the Nissan's automatic gearbox managed to get somewhat jerky to push at lower speeds, especially trundling slowly in urban traffic or rolling into a near stop at traffic lights. Much of that continues to be engineered out for all those 2017 model year revisions, however it doesn't stop the GT-R feeling bulky, especially inside tight confines of the multi-story recreation area. A reversing camera and parking sensors will be the saviors here. There's 315 liters of space available from the GT-R's boot, but be aware the loading lip is quite high along with the space being offered as deep as opposed to long. Plenty of room for a few large, squishy overnight bags, certainly. The rear seats don't fold down though. Take another thing to IKEA.